Previously on the European LCS.
Show me what you got.
He dives into the middle of them. Kevin will go in as well. That's a double kill for Creative. And this is going to be the game for Millennium.
Sanavar's not going to be focused. Overpower will. Overpower one. And camera shot. Oh my god. We'll be meta.
Oh, he's going back to top. No, he's going to throw 1v1. They kill each other. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the European League of Legends Championship Series, coming to you live from our studio in Cologne, Germany. I'm Joe Miller, and alongside Martin Fischer-Lunger, we're back from a fantastic event in London. We're here to bring you week 6 of the summer split.
And last week's London Roadshow was amazing. And we just want to say thank you again to all the fans who came out to support their favorite teams, and casters, of course. But it's good to be back here in Cologne, and we really have some exciting games ahead of us.
It certainly is. And before we get started, let's take a look at the standings here in Europe. Alliance are, of course, still riding high in first place now with 10 wins and 2 losses to their name. And the closest team behind them is 2 games back right now, and that's SK Gaming in second at 8 and 4.
Millennium is next in third place with 7 wins and 5 losses, and Fnatic and the Subaru crew are tied for 4th in the middle of the table with both 6 wins and 6 losses.
And here are the 4 matches coming your way today. We'll start things off with the Copenhagen Wolves taking on Fnatic, and then Alliance will face off Millennium.
In the second half, the Subaru crew will take on Gambit Gaming, and we'll end the day with SK Gaming against Rocket.
And as our matches play out this week, these will be the 5 players that we'll be keeping an eye on. First up, I chose Overpower because he was the Week 5 MVP and has been a crucial figure in guiding Rockout to their current 4-game winning streak. His return to that spring split form has seen him amass a 20 KDA last week, and teams are going to have to be working on closing him down here in Week 6. Next up is Youngbuck. He had the best performance in the LCS so far versus Alliance on Irelia, where he went 12-3-5. And it was really nice to see him rise to the occasion in London, but I'm just curious as to whether he can bring that form back to Cologne this week.
And my first player to watch was actually in the same game as Youngbuck, where he went on this amazing streak with Irelia. We have Taps now. His play on Lucian against Copenhagen Wolves was absolutely fantastic, and overall Taps, he's not the superstar when you think about Alliance, but yet every single time he does so well, and many people consider him to be the best AD carry in Europe at the moment. Kazing is the next player to watch, formerly known as Yero. With the departure now of We Will Failure, Kazing gets another week to prove that he's the support Subaru Creative wants to keep on the team, and if he plays like he did in London, I definitely think he's a good choice. Creaton, he's gonna be the last man to watch here. He didn't look too good on Lucian against Rocket, but then he really stepped it up on day 2 in London on Twitch, and it was a fantastic performance against Fnatic. And if he can keep his performance going, I definitely think he's one of the best AD carries in Europe.
And we'll have to find out how all those players do this week. Well, remember that you guys can find all the stats for the players as well as VODs of past games, standings and much more at lolesports.com. And if you visit the schedule link at the top of the page, you can also vote on today's games.
Just click the thumbs up next to the teams you think will win, and we'll check your picks during the day. And if you've ever wanted to join us here in Cologne to watch the European LCS live and in person, just click at the tickets, or on the tickets link at the top of the page, of course, for all the details. We've only 5 weeks left in the split. You have to grab them while you can.
And now, of course, we'd like you to drop a little knowledge on us. Head to Twitter and let us know which European LCS player has had the biggest impact so far this split, and why.
So I actually have to say Kerb, both a good and a bad way, because he's really the person deciding if Millennium will do well in the game or if they're just going to fall flat and just lose straight up here. So Kerb for me, but of course we want to hear from you guys, so send your answers to us at LoLesports, and make sure to use the hashtag LCS so we can highlight a few of your answers later in the show.
Well, before we head into our first match, let's take a look back at the European LCS trip to London last weekend and take you behind the scenes to see how it all came together.
This week is a special show because we've taken the circus on the road all the way to London, England.
We want to bring the LCS to as many fans as possible, and we have a ton of fans in the UK. and it's just a perfect opportunity for that.
I like actually traveling with the production. I like to travel with all the casters. Be here together, we hang out, we live together for a few days, and we just we have fun.
I didn't expect that we were going to sell this place out, so when we did it and did it quickly, I was very surprised.
The LCS is a very complicated show with a lot of moving parts. When you take all those moving parts and you bring them somewhere new, there's extra complications.
This control room is where the whole team comes together in the Los Angeles portion of the show. There's a control room that's down on site in London in a truck where they're controlling the other end. And so at all times we're communicating all across the globe to put together this one show.
For this London show, we have a very small amount of time, so we have to make sure we're really efficient and we get everything done. Every minute is just super, super important for us.
I always want to do another 2 hours of rehearsal. I want to have another hour with the script. I want to have another 2 hours with the casters. But it's that same time crunch that makes you excel and try new things.
A couple hours before rehearsal time, we walk the floor and we get all the caster stations and all the other elements behind the scenes ready to go.
We've just gone through rehearsals, so everything is set and ready to go. We hope everything is going to go off without hitch.
20 in a box, move, take. I am Lee D-Man Smith. And I'm joined by Trevor Quickshot Henry. I like you, my friend. It's good to be casting at home, that's for sure.
Even though I'm on the other side of the globe, looking at this, the adrenaline like rushes through you. As soon as I walked in this morning and the fans started getting in there, you just get this like...
It's so nice to be in a full arena and see all those people that are cheering for the same thing.
It's not stop because, as you can hear, the audience just brings a whole level of energy.
We have two fabulous British casters on our team. Joe and D-Man are fantastic, and they were so happy to be at home.
Best moment was hearing the entire crowd chant my name, and it literally brought a tear to my dad's eye.
We love you, Miller! We do! We love you, Miller! We do! Oh, Joey, we love you! Way!
Thanks, guys.
Great show, everyone. GG. Before you know it, the day's over. It's time to reset and write the next day.
For myself, Joe, Quickshot, Deficio Shocks, and the entire broadcast team, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Really, really amazing event.
Yep.
I think Demon summed that one up perfectly for both of us. It was pretty special to be casting at home.
I have to agree. I mean, just being there with you guys as well, hearing the crowd go crazy, and the British crowd is a bit special as well, with some of the things they yell.
Special. Wow, that's an interesting word.
In a good
to
way.
use. In a good way, of course. And guys, with that, let's kick off things here for our first LCS clash of Week 6 as the Copenhagen Wolves take on Fnatic. Last week in London was another bad week for the Copenhagen Wolves, at least results-wise, as they lost both games, but they seem to show a real marked improvement in how they actually played the games.
100% agree. I mean, the Super Hot Crew game, they lost in the very last team fight in the late game. Against Alliance, of course, it was this fantastic back and forth game. So overall, they actually looked a lot better, especially Youngbuck on Aurelia. You highlight him yourself as a player to watch here. Such a great performance. He was everywhere on the map. Wicked afterwards in the interview. He even said Youngbuck, he just played his heart out. It was beautiful to watch.
And the Wolves are all alone, though, still at the bottom of the table, and really, of course, need to get wins to move away from that. But my question is, how do they do that? Because despite playing well, they've still not been able to pick up the points.
So normally the issue for Copenhagen Wolves is they rely a lot on the AD carry to do all the work here. So I really feel the solo laners, Kautot and Youngbuck, they have to step up again. They have really they need to perform. I mean, Woolite, he has all the pressure on him pretty much every single game. They often build comms around him, where they just want him to get some farm, get some kills, and then he can try and carry the game. If the solo laners step up here, it opens up for him to make more plays, and therefore the entire Copenhagen Wolves team will do better.
And maybe with 4.10 coming in, the AD carry is going to play a bigger role. That may just work out in the Wolves' favour. And despite the fact that Fnatic had a 1-1 week, you could also argue that they actually look worse in-game than the Copenhagen Wolves did. They struggled against a Gambit team with 4 solo substitutes, and they were completely controlled by Millennium.
And the weird thing for me with Fnatic is they often tend to have a bit of a weird pick and ban phase. And we saw the same thing against Millennium. Just to highlight a few of their picks for them. They first picked Lee Sin for Cyanide when Evelynn and Elise was open, so they didn't actually take anything away from Millennium. At the same time, they gave them LeBlanc and Twitch, 2 picks which fits perfectly in a pick comp, which is the only comps Millennium actually win games with when they play pick comps, when Curb is playing Assassins. So it's very weird to see them, the pick and ban phase. We can say, though, they're the last team now to get a coach. Aaron Ayer was officially put up as a coach now last week. We need to see if he can sort out their pick and ban phase for them.
We'll move into a little bit more individual players here, and that man in the middle of your screen right now, Reckless, he's always been a big player for them, a superstar AD carry that can be a huge factor in their games.
Yeah, so just his numbers, I mean, they are perfect. He has the best KDA in the league. He has the least amount of deaths. Overall, though, you'd say when you look at his numbers, this guy is a superstar. I agree he is. But he plays too passive, in my opinion. He's not there when a team really needs him in the late-game team fights, and he needs to be more aggressive. He needs to help out once he gets the lead to really carry the team to victory. And we need to see how he can adapt to the new changes. Now in 4.10, I mean, Twitch and Lucian. Twitch got nerfed a little bit, and Lucian, he's going to build different item-wise. Can he adapt to it? And is he going to play the Vayne? I mean, he used to play it so often, and now it should be a viable pick again.
Or something like Tristan, I remember from his Wolves time in Fnatic before he actually turned 17, was able to play in the LCS, looked very strong with that. We're going to find out here shortly, but first we're going to check out the starting lineup, starting on the blue side with the Copenhagen Wolves. They are Youngblood in the top lane, Airwax in the jungle, Coutard in the mid lane, and the duo of Woolite and Unlimited.
And on the red side, we do have Fnatic with Source in the top lane, Cyanide as the jungler, Xpeke in the mid lane, Reckless as the AD carry, and Yellowstar, of course, as the support.
So before we head into picks and bans, let's check out your predictions. According to LOLesports.com, you picked Fnatic by 88%. Copenhagen Wolves, they're bottom of the table.
True.
Fnatic didn't look so amazing last week, but just by table position alone right now, Fnatic on paper are the big favorites for this game.
100% agree. One thing I worry about, however, is actually how much these teams have practiced now on 4.10. Because we were in London, we came back here, instantly had to go home, scrim, prepare for 4.10. It's a big patch, there's a lot of changes here. We need to see which team actually adapts the best.
Well, we'll be finding out. We're going to get into picks and bans here in just a couple of moments, but now that we're on this patch, there's still quite a few unknowns for us. Let's just go through things. Nidalee not available to be picked here because of the rework. However, in the same note, Skarner, who's had quite a few changes, is available to be played. So there may be some slightly different picks coming out here in week 6 than what we saw in week 5.
So jungle-wise, I still think we have Lee Sin, Elise, and Evelynn as like the top picks. But right under, Skarner comes in here because he's a very, very strong pick. He provides a lot of CC. We might even see him in the top lane. I've heard a few teams like to play top lane here, and you can set up ganks very easily with this top lane champion. So there's a lot of options with Skarner, but in general, everything has changed here, especially for the AD carries.
Going to be very interesting to see how things are picked and, well, how they're built as well, especially down in that bottom lane. And let's find out here as we do go into bans and picks between the Copenhagen Wolves and Fnatic. And the first ban out of the gate here is going to be Aatrox for the Copenhagen Wolves. Fnatic not really showing too much. Kassadin is still Kassadin, banned by the red side. Pretty much every time, unless it's Millennium on blue, then they'll ban him themselves.
Of course. Aatrox ban here, I actually feel like it's because of the patch where, in my opinion, top laners who has inbuilt sustain, I mean Aatrox sustain, Renekton has sustain, they are stronger because the lifesteal nerfs. We can talk more about it in the game once we actually see the picks here, but I feel like that's the reason Copenhagen was banned away, because lifesteal was nerfed on items, therefore it's so much stronger on champions.
Well, let's have a look at the others then. Morgana and Evelynn taken away by the Copenhagen Wolves. And on the other side, Twitch taken away by Fnatic along with Jax. That's left Kayle up. And we've seen how strong Kayle has been. The Wolves not hesitating here to pick that champion in as their first choice.
And I think they remember Mima playing Kayle against them and going completely crazy in the first day of week 5 in London. And obviously here you can both go to the mid lane, could also go to the top lane. Again, it's a champion, you have your own heal, you can sustain in lane, and you can bully out whoever you're playing against. Remember as well, teleport now, 40 seconds longer cooldown if you teleport to your tower. It means a lot for the top lane, because you won't be able to be in the lane, take a lot of damage, go back to base and teleport back as often. So again, sustain means a lot more, where Kayle really shines.
So for Fnatic then, locking in their bottom lane, we're going to see Thresh going into the hands of that man on your screen, Yellowstar, and also Lucian here for Reckless. So no real big changes on his front. We thought that we may be seeing, you know, hyper carries like Vayne coming back into this one, but Lucian gonna be a very big pick. I mean, 93, let's call it 94% of games so far picked up. A solid first pick in your first round.
Even though Bloodthirster was a big deal for Lucian, it meant you had your mid-game power spike where all your abilities did so much damage because of the Bloodthirster. Even though it's changed now to only give 80 attack damage and you can't stack it any longer, you have different item builds now, which really works on him. Blade of the Ruined King into Ghostblade is going to be the big deal here, and it simply means you focus more on your auto attacks, and the 6 seconds of Ghostblade, remember it's changed now, so ranged champions can use it for 6 seconds. It was 4 seconds before, but the fact you can now build Blade of the Ruined King into Ghostblade, he has so much early mid-game damage with this build and so much auto attack damage. It's still very, very strong, and it makes Lucian a good champion.
We saw in the preview show a few plays coming out of Airwax on that Lee Sin, and he will get his hands on that for another game here up against Fnatic, and also deciding to lock in Bromin as the support.
Should be Lee Sin for Cyanide if he follows the normal flow of jungle picks here, of course. Lee Sin is a big pick for Airwax, and he's a very good jungler. He makes a lot of plays, and I actually believe he's the jungler in the European LCS who's part of the most kills. I mean, he has the highest kill participation of all the junglers here, so it's a big deal for him. He has something where he can set up plays, and especially early game, because Copenhagen Wolves, they need to get this kill going, and whatever they get in for either the top or mid lane, the different lane here, they also need to make sure it can get going, so we get these solo laners going for Copenhagen Wolves.
So what will Fnatic go with here? Really running that clock down and deciding in the end to go with the Elise that we expected, with Evelyn banned and Lee Sin already taken away, and also then picking up Lulu for the top lane for Soaz, I'm guessing here.
I would guess as well. One of the champions who don't necessarily need any lifesteal because she's so safe and you can poke from long range so you don't take too much damage. Therefore, again, very strong pick. You can run teleport as well. And the thing about Lulu and Kayle top lane is even though you die 4 times early game, you're still going to be relevant in the game because of your ultis and because of just the way you actually work as a champion. So it means both these champions here can get shut down early, but they're still going to be good. And therefore, they're very safe top lane picks. And of course, they work really well in the current meta.
So what will the Wolves be settling in with this time around? Looking for the AD carry, and thought maybe that would be a Kayle in the top lane. It's actually going to be Ashe locked in, and they take Renekton as well. So Kayle going to be settled in with Countard in the mid lane, and Youngbuck going to be taking his Renekton to top. But Ashe coming up, first pick here in the European LCS.
First pick, and I mean, you can now build, of course, Infinity Edge into Phantom Dancer, and once you hit the, I believe Jad was talking about the 8,180 gold mark, you actually become really, really strong once you have Infinity Edge, Phantom Dancer, double Dorans, and your boots. You are very strong, so as long as Woolite can survive the early part, where Reckless is gonna build his Blade of the Ruined King into Ghostblade, but as long as you can get past that point, get to the 8,000 gold mark, he's going to be very, very strong, and of course it's a very good pick here. And we have to remember, Mikhail's Crucible was nerfed, so it's harder to get for supports, and it was one of the reasons people didn't play Ashe any longer, because once you landed a stun, Mikhail's would just cleanse the target, easy peasy, walk away, and the ulti did nothing from Ashe.
So final pick then for Fnatic will be Ziggs, settling into the mid lane for Xpeke, which means we'll be seeing that Lulu in the top lane for Soaz, he's had very much a mixed time when it comes to these top lane AP champions. We'll see how he does here against Youngbuck's Renekton.
Overall, both teams here running some very strong laners. I mean, Kayle, Ziggs in the mid lane, very strong against each other. Slight edge to Ziggs, but we need to see how the Fiend changes is actually going to affect this one, because Kayle didn't build the Fiends normally. Ziggs did. It's now nerfed. I think he's still going to build it, but he's going to take more damage from Kayle and going to have less, of course, mana regen as well from the Fiends. Up in this top lane here, Renekton, I want to talk about him when we get in the game, because there's some new tricks you can do on him here in 4.10, which are very, very strong.
Tricks from Deficio. And we'll see if Youngbuck, that was our question. Brilliant game on Irelia against Alliance last week. We'll see if he can do it here against Fnatic once again. So guys, with these champions, do you think Fnatic is still going to come out on top? Send us a tweet with the hashtag CWWin or hashtag FNCWin to @LOL Esports, and we'll check out the results in just a few moments. 88% though was a pretty huge and convincing vote.
Right.
It may shrink a little, but I still think Fnatic are going to be favored generally. What are your thoughts, though, after seeing the two teams?
Well, so overall, they have a very standard comp we have seen many times before here, where Copenhagen Wolves with a few new picks. I mean, Renekton been kind of out of favor for some time now. He's back in 4.10. Only Freddy, I believe, actually played him in Europe. Youngbuck now picking up, of course, an old main character for him. I like both comps here, actually. I really like the early pressure they can use from Copenhagen Wolves with Renekton, and if they get a lead, they can start fights with the Ash Arrow every single time and set up kills.
Two very long surviving teams as well when you factor in the intervention, the wild growth on Fnatic's side out of Soaz's top lane Lulu. Either way, we're going to find out exactly how this one goes down as we get into game for our first match of week 6. It's the Copenhagen Wolves taking on Fnatic.
So, Renekton in the top lane here. The reason he's a very strong pick now in 4.10 is the teleport we talked about earlier. Simply means it's harder for you to sustain in the lane against a lane bully like Renekton. Dragon also has been changed a little bit. It gives more gold in the early game, which means lane swapping is a bit more risky unless you feel like you can stop the lane swap. Therefore, Renekton, once again, as a lane bully, comes into the whole flow. Also, he can build Blade of the Rune King and use it with his W, where he gets multiple hits every time he hits with the W here, and it procs every single on-hit effect from the Blade of the Rune King, which of course now has been changed. It gives less lifesteal. The active is a bit worse than before, but you now have 8% current health on every hit from your auto attacks with the blade. So it's very strong on champions who auto attacks a lot or can auto attack very, very fast, which Renekton can do. For now though, Fnatic might be face checking.
Oh, they are going to be face checking. This one, it's yellow, so that flashes instantly. Q from Airwax has landed on Reckless, but does he want to follow this one up? See a little bit of apprehension here from the Wolves. The hook sipped aside from Fnatic in the end. Blowing a couple of summoner spells in there. I say a couple, which is obviously 2, but they only used 1. That was on Yellow Star in the end. He got out there very quickly after the initial damage came down.
So some very good disengage, especially with Soaz on Lulu. Landing his glitter lance onto multiple members from Copenhagen was slowing them down here. But a very nice setup from the Wolves, especially because they have Ashia with her crit early on, trying to see if they can get an early kill.
So, looks like we're going to get both teams headed off to a more standard start. Although I say that, Fnatic have all 5 men, or 4 men at least in the middle. We saw Lucian recalling, and it seems like they may put some pressure down now over by the enemy blue buff, which will be hooked here by Yellow Star, and will follow through as well. And that will be the start. So Fnatic going to be seeing the enemy blue, Airwax and the rest of the Wolves going to do exactly the same on the other side of the map.
And it was actually a very smart ward from the Copenhagen Wolves on the blue buff. I believe it was Youngblood while he was running to the top lane, just put down the ward, went to the lane. So he saw now the lane swap, which means he can move away from the lane, join in with the rest of his own team down the bottom side of the map here, and just farm up a bit with Airwax, and maybe put some focus on the Dragon. So we need to see if Fnatic want to send Yellow Star down with Cyanide and with Soaz to try and stop the Dragon with 3 members, or they feel like they're just going to give up the Dragon and farm away in this lane swap.
And in the middle, that's going to leave them a little bit quiet. Kale versus Ziggs. As you mentioned before, the changes to that Athene's is going to make it interesting to see how Peke actually starts his build-off in this one up against a champion which doesn't usually factor in that Athene's.
So Athene's, the nerf to Athene's, especially the magic resist nerf, which went down by 25, I believe it was, or was it 15? I'm just going to double check in 2 seconds. Still, the fact that you now have less magic resist means champions who don't build Athenes can trade better with you, and therefore they become slightly stronger in lane. Still, it's still a good item. You can still build it, and I believe he's going to do it here, especially because he needs the mana regen from the Athenes.
So Yellow Star is going to start to move around the map a little bit, coming down from that top lane, leaving Reckless all to his own divide there because, well, there's no real pressure on him. The Copenhagen Wolves have 4 men on the bottom side of the map. Are they going to be going for an early Dragon? Here we see, miss there on towards Yellow Star. Let's not forget he doesn't have a flash. He's used the exhaust, but it looks like he's going to be finished off here, and the first blood goes over to Youngbuck and the Copenhagen Wolves, and he's just going to TP to that top lane to save it going down.
So the Copenhagen Wolves expected Fnatic to move multiple members down towards the Dragon to stop them in case they'd started it. Therefore they were just waiting. They never started the Dragon, never took any damage for it, and Yellow Star just walked all the way from top lane down towards to the Dragon to try and stop them. Sadly enough, no flash, and very clever play by the Wolves gives them first blood.
Now we see Warlight as well using that Hulk shot nicely just to get vision of where Fnatic were actually moving. Was able to slow them down and get out of any danger on that bottom side of the map. Right now, Peke winning out on that middle lane CS. If you look at the AD carries, there's not too much difference between them, however. I'm not sure he wants that now. Didn't realize that Yellow Star was already coming back into lane. Airwax had just gone up there for a little visit, but they're going to leave Youngbuck to his own accord in that top lane. Sorry, not even at half HP just now.
And Renekton is one of the top laners who can really hold the tower, especially once he gets a few levels and he can start clearing the wave or at least apply some pressure by going in and stun you, and the jungler joins in. Kartot and Pekka though, trading back and forth here, definitely in favor of Coulthard.
Yeah, not sure that Peke particularly wanted to bounce him back in towards him and allow for a couple more auto attacks to actually come through in that one. In the end, Youngbuck here, we can see trying his best to get that farm in and defend his tower as nicely as possible, but he needs to be a little careful on that one to not end up blowing an early flash. Airwax actually will be the one that comes across to give him a little bit of cover. Looks like he'll be wanting to recall here in just a moment.
Still a very good ward from Reckless. Once they actually pushed the wave down to the tower, he just put it over the wall into the bush here. So they saw Airwax. Now he's up in his top lane here, and Youngbuck, of course, just trying to wave there with him. Teleport is very far away, so he won't be able to go back and then rejoin fast to the lane.
Don't forget that teleport, 40 seconds added to it when you come to the tower, so it becomes a little bit more dangerous to use it willy-nilly, as we often see a lot of these top laners do to move quicker up into a farming position. That seems to be the first recall from Peke, so we'll see exactly where he goes with this Ziggs build. A little bit scared there of Coulthard coming through. Unlimited actually waiting off to the side as well. That's a good ward who would have spotted Unlimited coming through either way. Top lane is still pushing though in favor of Fnatic, and just a couple more auto attacks from Reckless will be able to finish that one off. I could imagine that the bottom lane's in a similar scenario because there's been pressure on that for a while, but look at this. Airwax now coming to the middle as well. They get the slow on Peke, but it's about getting him away from this mid lane turret. They're calling Soaz now to middle to make sure that they can defend that.
So because the top tower is already gone due to Youngbuck being back in base and no teleport ready for him, they just sent multiple members to this mid lane. Xpeke was out of mana, so he couldn't wave there fast enough, and therefore they got some damage on the tower. Still, because Sana was there, had to back away, couldn't actually take it down.
And Youngbuck now could be in a little bit of trouble. We'll see how this all works out. And there we see 80-20 in favor of Fnatic. So has changed slightly. There's a hook's going to land into Youngbuck. Don't think he's in danger there, though. He'll just slice his way out of it. Actually, we did get a quick glimpse on the bottom tower of Fnatic, which is actually not as low in HP. Of course, it's the top one because that is now down. So a little bit less pressure and damage done by the Copenhagen Wolves on that front. And no early dragon attempt. 7 minutes in, we have been seeing last week in particular, at least here in Europe, that a lot of early dragons were done. Not going for it this time around though, the Wolves.
So the reason the early dragon wasn't done this time was because the Wolves were just baiting it out, waiting for Yellowstar to move down without the flash, killed him, and therefore just went back to the lanes. But actually bought a lot of time also for Soaz to just farm in this bottom lane here. He's been one-on-one against Woolite for most of the time, while Unlimited's been trying to roam around a little bit. He went to the mid lane, had to back away here. So Soaz been able to pick up some good farm, some experience. He's level 6 now, slightly ahead of Youngbuck here, who's been 1v2ing the most of the time of this top lane.
So let's have a look down the items. Seen a couple of different things coming out. Actually, we did see that Fnatic stole the Copenhagen Wolves' blue buff. The Wolves reply instantly by taking Fnatic's, but give it over to the mid laner as well. So Coulthard going to have that to work with. Peke not going to get a blue buff this round. We can also see that he picked up the Chalice, so is going to be going to the Athenes despite the changes.
So again, it's still a good item. It still gives you a lot of mana regeneration. It gives 60 AP as well. I mean, overall, you can still build it, and definitely on a champion like Ziggs, who really needs the mana here. So it's pretty smart. And we actually see a lot of focus on his mid lane. Sana's been around his mid lane quite a lot as well, moving in, clearing the wave out as soon as Coulthard was gone, and he backed away. He's been around to defend as well. So overall, a lot of this game has been about lane swap and then focus on the mid lane.
Coulthard, however, though, is already up at level 7, which means got his ultimate and makes him a lot harder to kill. And look at this, Cyanide. Is he going to go towards his top lane? Youngbuck also level 6, as is Soaz. So we'll see if they can actually lock Youngbuck up, but with the mobility on Renekton and a flash still available for him, don't particularly see the damage being there by Fnatic to actually end up killing him. Actually, it may just change that as Youngbuck coming out takes half the health away from Soaz. There is an early flashes down in his bottom lane. Everything's thrown at Yellowstar. The Yarrow is going to come out. There's the flash over to the king, and Yellowstar now in all kinds of trouble, but Airwax taking a lot of damage as well. Yellowstar going to flash away, and they manage to get the kill. Reckless though, being locked up by the brown passive, and now it's all on Woolite. 2 versus 1. Colleen comes out. Yellowstar's going to keep going, but realizes it may be too low, so Ziggs bomb comes down. Doesn't actually land in the end, and that will be a 2-0 in favor of Fnatic, and they're going to keep going here possibly as well towards the Dragon top lane. Youngbuck did go down to that gank earlier on.
And we did talk about how Ashe needs time to build up. She needs around this 8,000 gold point before she really becomes strong. Therefore, Lucian is just so much stronger in this stage of the game, and the gank. Fnatic just turns it around. We're just gonna see it again here. Actually, we're gonna see the top lane. Source, first of all, he plays very stupid on purpose. He wants to bait out Youngbuck to go towards him, so he just walks in his face. Now Youngbuck, because the tower is gone, there's nowhere for him to run. Just gonna be chased down here, slowed every single time. Easy kill for Fnatic. And down his bottom lane at the same time, Reckless picking up the double kill. He already had the Cutlass here. There was a PF sword still on the side of Astro. Cyanide, he's in trouble.
He's in a little bit of trouble, however, he does have Soaz coming in. Peke will move to the side, that's a good minefield. Will slow down both of them, and they're going to go for it here. Intervention used, but a good satchel charge brings them back. Hook comes out from Yellowstar, traps him against the wall. That's Soaz getting the kill, and there's a lantern to get him away. 1-for-1 in the end. Airwax gets off to a ward as well to keep himself alive. Soaz couldn't quite get around to chase that one. It's an exchange in the jungle.
Once again, Fnatic are there with multiple members trying to win the fights here. They didn't need it down the bottom lane before, but this time around they needed 4 members. Soaz, though, could just teleport to this top lane instantly. Youngbuck already used his teleport before, couldn't join in for the fight. Overall, though, Fnatic winning out on the small fights.
Didn't expect Youngbuck to be killed in that top lane, and obviously I was proved wrong with that one. I actually got both of them pretty low and probably left guessing then if I'd have actually just stuck around and fought them straight up, maybe I could have taken one down with me. Meanwhile, though, he's coming from that top lane down towards mid. Already a pink ward in position, though, will spot him out, and there's the second one for him if he actually spots it. There we go. So he's going to clear both of those out. A bit costly there for Fnatic.
Yeah, losing 2 pink wards. Never a nice thing, and Copenhagen was instantly moving towards the dragon because Youngbuck moved from this top lane. Source is going to join him, however. We should see a 5 versus 5 if Pekka gets here in time.
So look down the ultimates, we have intervention back up, the Ash Arrow is in there, the bomb already used by Peke to get some early damage in, and a couple of minion from the Copenhagen Wolves fairly low as he comes across the side. Dragon is low but still not taken, there it is. Airwax will finish it up, last second intervention onto Youngbuck, but he won't be able to escape, and now they're looking for more. Countdown in the back of the Dragon Pit, completely isolated. Cyanide flashes over, gets the cocoon, and that's 4 men down. I'm not sure if Woolite can get away from this one. It's all going to be about whether Cyanide can land the shot. No, not quite. Woolite got the speed on him, but 4 men taken down by Fnatic. That's a win-win scenario. The Wolves did get the Dragon, though, as a consolation in that fight, I guess you can say.
Well, I'm actually very surprised they decided to start the Dragon. We're just going to see the replay again. Fnatic, they come in from multiple sides. Unlimited, he was very low from the poke already. And yes, the Dragon went down in favor of Copenhagen Wolves, but everyone took so much damage. They were just standing in a group. Easy for Fnatic to win this fight here. Chase on, picks up 4 kills. And the thing is, Copenhagen Wolves, when you play Ashe, when you play Kayle, you need time to build up. You're against a Lucian, you're against a Ziggs, and a Lulu. All these champions are very, very strong at this point, especially now. Once the Blade of the Ruined King gets completed from Reckless, he's going to be very strong in this early mid-game. So I'm not sure why Copenhagen Wolves are forcing objectives and team fights, because it's definitely in favor of Fnatic.
And there is the Blade of the Ruined King done. Also got himself the Brutalizer, so working up towards that Youmuu's Ghost Blade as well, which Jack talked about extensively earlier on, and we're seeing a lot more AD carries picking that one up. Fantastic item for its price.
Yeah, it's gonna make you so strong. You need around 7,000 gold for the Ghost Blade and the Blade of the Ruined King. And the whole idea, especially on Lucian, is you now rely a lot on your passive. So you get this double auto attack where you do 8% of the current health of the target on every single hit you do. So your entire combo is not about your abilities any longer. It's just your passive auto attacks. And of course, with the 6 seconds on Ghost Blade for ranged champions, you're very fast. I mean, you get 20% movement speed and 40% attack speed. So you have this 6-second window where you just do so much damage. And you can also activate your calling. Here's an engage though, Arrow coming in.
Arrow coming in, lands on towards Yellowstar. Great play though. Peke actually joining the party as well as the intervention goes to Unlimited. But Countdown's going to get finished off. Half Fnatic got the damage. The Copenhagen Wolves have turned around, but they're calling ripping through them. Reckless now on a rampage. Woolite goes down. That's a double for the support Yellowstar. And Soaz is still chasing. He fancies a go on Unlimited and he will get it as well. Will they dive Airwax? I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Airwax goes between the towers. Gives Soaz a chance to actually get on this one. And there is the double. Would have maybe been better off just standing under his turret. In the end, it doesn't matter. It's an ace for Fnatic.
So the idea for Copenhagen Wolves here was Cyanide is not there. It's only 4 members. Let's engage, get a kill or 2, and back away. But because they're so weak at this point, because I keep referring back to it, Ashe and Kayle, they need time to build up. They can't win these fights. Even 4 members from Fnatic destroyed them. And just pick up even more kills, even more gold for Fnatic. Overall, this game is really getting out of hand.
13-2 in kills, 4-0 in turrets in favor of Fnatic. The outer ring completely down, that middle inner turret. Fourth of the game, and the Copenhagen Wolves need to stall this one out for a long time. Let's just say at this stage. That Kayle nowhere near being powerful enough to have the impact that, I mean, look at Reckless here, 4-0-6. He's got Cyanide on Lulu, not Cyanide on Lulu, that wouldn't make sense. Soaz on Lulu at 4-0-5. They're actually going for Airwax, going to kick him back. Repel will actually send him to the backside, and like that, 2 versus 3 are able to keep them away from Cyanide, and now Woolite's in all kinds of trouble. Soaz on him, he's got a red buff as well. Arrow used though, Woolite turns that one around, and there is, he's ticking away, but it's not going to be enough. Really, really well done. Didn't use the ult on himself.
Yeah, Soaz, he didn't expect the arrow in the very end from Woolite, so he saved his ult for such a long time. Yellow Starter in trouble.
He's in complete no man's land, gonna get caught. Capsule actually flashing in. Has he got the damage to finish off? No, Yellow Star getting away from that. And now Peke throwing it all back at them. Cyanide is gonna be chasing in there as well. Repel comes over the top. Who's he gonna go for? I don't think he's got the damage for any. And the Cocoon miss, but Fnatic there able to turn it around and keep Yellow Star alive.
But Copenhagen also trying to find fights now, just not team fights, but just 1 or 2 fights here and there. If they can find 1 or 2 members from Fnatic out of position, they want to go for it, want to try and pick up a kill and then back away. So they're playing a bit of an aggressive style of defending here by constantly looking for fights. And then of course Soaz down this bottom lane shouldn't have died. He just didn't expect the arrow in the very end.
I just noticed actually that top lane CS, Youngbuck 105 to the 58 of Soaz. Soaz is pretty much farming champion at this stage rather than going for the minions. Mid lane CS is level. Reckless got an advantage not just obviously in CS but in kills as well. 4-0-6, and he's closing in on 2,000 gold lead as well over the opposite number, Woolite. So we'll see how that one all builds up for them. But Fnatic, as you mentioned, when it comes to team fights right now, have such an advantage that Wolves need to avoid them at all costs.
And Ghostblade should be ready very, very soon for Reckless as well. And once he picks it up, we're just gonna see the burst damage he can actually do for those 6 seconds here when he activates it, and how hard it's gonna be for Copenhagen Wolves to actually kill him. Soaz here, he's actually doing the same build he's done before on Lulu, where he goes loads of Thorns into a Morello Nomicon. And in this patch here, because Morello Nomicon gives slightly more AP than it did before, it's actually a very good route here, because you don't need the Fiends, especially not when you're laying against the likes of Renekton.
This Yellow Star going to get a hook onto Youngbuck. No follow-up just yet, but the Lantern goes down, and they're going to go for Youngbuck. Airwax actually there. That's a good kick to slow them down. Coulthard comes in from the side, but they've got Cyanide now joining the party. Peke can come in from the side as well. Actually going to knock Coulthard up in the air. He still has intervention, though, so Peke not throwing everything, including the ultimate at him, but good damage either way.
Getting some poke here. Fnatic are just pushing down multiple lanes. We see Soaz in this bottom lane, one-on-one against Woolite. Peke is staying in the mid lane alone because he's 6. He can just wave clear very, very fast. And then, of course, multiple members in this top lane here looking for fights as well. If they just kill 1 member from Copenhagen Wolves, they should be able to take a tower in one of the lanes.
Dragon is actually live here as well. It was a bit of a bloodbath last time with the Copenhagen Wolves getting the kill on the Dragon itself as the arrow comes flying through. Unlimited is only the only one in range there of Soaz, and he damages him enough that the Copenhagen Wolves can't follow through on that one. We'll see if that has implications here now that we come to the Dragon time.
Well, the main engage tool from the Copenhagen Wolves are now down, and Soaz didn't even have to do anything other than just dodge a little bit to the side. So they can just start the Dragon here. They got full control as well of the river area. There's only 1 ward from the Copenhagen Wolves, but it's far away from the Dragon. Pops in 1 here, gets the timer at least, but not in a position to try and fight.
And there's Soaz straight away. He's going to teleport onto the top lane, make sure that Youngbuck can't have a go at that one. Still a mass of CS behind, but a mass of kills in front, which is really helping him out there. And the fact is that Fnatic really, really far ahead now in this game. 4-1. The gold not too far away from hitting a 10,000 gold lead for Fnatic. And here is another blue buff going to be stolen away. This time we'll be giving over to Soaz on Lulu.
So blue buff here. Oh, they're going for Youngbuck again.
And the hook. Nope. Wow. Not quite in there. Actually went for his position before the slice came out, but see that pretty much every lane except the bottom side is being a little bit pressured. Although I say that the top lane was pushed up further there by Youngbuck, but down in the bottom, Woolite's trying his best here to get some turrets.
Yeah, they're actually giving Woolite a lot of farm here because Fnatic leave him to farm by himself. Don't really manage to punish anywhere else on the map, so Copenhagen Wolves for now, defending well. Will pick up a tower because teleport is gone from Source. He had to use it top lane just before, so he won't be able to defend it. And Woolite just building towards the points where he can become very, very strong on the Ashe here. Still need a bit of time though.
And while we can talk about how long it's going to take, because Infinity Edge is up, his way up well to the static shift, but on the other side, that Ghost Blade already done for Reckless. We also see a needlessly large rod for Peke on top of his Athenes. The shift was just completed as well by Woolite after he took down that one as the arrow comes through, but not quite in the right position. So as just stepping off to the side, and this could actually be dangerous for the Copenhagen Wolves, trying to hold on to this inner turret in that top lane.
Very, very close. There are only 4 members from Fnatic here. Airworks though taking a lot of damage trying to move in for the engage. Reckless now is down this bottom lane. Woolite should run down and join him and trying to defend the tower here. Overall though, it's basically just Copenhagen Wolves trying to defend. Fnatic trying to look for this 1 kill here or look for an opening and just some damage on the tower and just slowly try and grind them out.
And Youngblood yet to get a full item actually finished off. He got the cowl in there, got himself Cutlass as well, if I can remember the name, but this is the problem for him with Ziggs hammering away from that backside. Hard to hold on to these turrets, already down to less than half HP as Peke using the satchel charge to keep the zone going on, constantly damaging that tower. 1 or 2 waves more and that inner turret is going to go down. Bottom lane as well, Ashe versus Lucian. It's a Lucian with Ghost Blade and that Blade of the Ruin King. I'm not sure that Woolite would be fancying his chances in a 1v1.
Definitely not. I mean, the upfront damage Reckless can do at this point is very, very high. He should be able to kill Woolite. Therefore, Woolite as well is just staying back and farming. He doesn't push the wave out as long as he's like, okay, is Reckless nearby? Not gonna push, just gonna wait. Reckless shows somewhere else, then he can keep pushing up.
So, with that inner turret
look at Reckless down the bottom lane. He's just waiting in the bush. No Woolite, very smart play. Then he comes out and takes the farm.
Camping it out, and that's going to pull Woolite straight back down there afterwards. Reckless though will be headed home. So I've looked down some of the other items in there. We're going to be seeing the Rabadon's death cap done for Soaz momentarily. Needlessly large rod and the Blasted Wand already done. Youngbuck finally finishing a big item here, picking up that Blade of the Ruin King.
So we talked a little bit about the Blade early on, and it actually makes Renekton very strong in split push and one-on-one in general. I've seen some very different builds. I've seen like Ghost Blade into, Reckless coming in, Source as well.
Yeah, strong in a 1v1, but what about a 2v1 with Soaz going in there? There's the knock-up, and that's an easy kill. Reckless now unstoppable as he goes 5-0-6. And it's funny, in the pre-show, we were talking about Reckless, no doubt world-class. Does he sometimes play passively? He's not been scared of getting his hands dirty this game.
No, definitely seems to favor the new item build here on Lucian. Has been doing such a good job overall. And of course, Youngbuck, he's very far behind. He's 1v2. There's nothing he can do. I mean, he has no armor at this point.
Yeah.
Against a 5-0 AD carry, it's just a lost cause for him.
So, trying to hold on to his bottom lane. You just have to feel that it's going to go the same way as what happened in the top lane, with Peke now moving down after pushing the inner turret in. Top lane's actually pushing in favor of the Copenhagen Wolves though, so that inhibitor turret should be fairly safe for now. But now with Peke moving in, another wave just going past the halfway point of the map as the arrow comes through. They're going to go for Peke, throwing him out the side there, but he jumps away. Can he survive this one? He isn't going to survive. He does go down with the rest of Fnatic trying to pick up kill. Good ultimate out of Unlimited. I'm not sure that Fnatic can actually fight this one. Woolite is going to force them away. Cyanide comes down, and the Wolves repel the attack down bottom. Oh, do they? Soaz going very aggressive. Going to use the wild joke on himself, but I think he might pay. Lantern comes out, and he goes off to safety. A messy fight with no real kills coming down except the one on Peke.
But still, Copenhagen Wolves looking stronger here. We have 2 items completed onto Woolite. It's what we talk about, where he needs these items to build up before he can really start to do some damage. It was a very good arrow coming in, teleport on the face as well, and just picked up the 1 kill. And Fnatic just had to back away, except for Swords just trying in the end, being a little bit aggressive. Lantern was there to save him from Yellow Star.
Took that. I'm going to say calculated Yellow Star.
Of course.
Telling him that that Lantern was down, have a go at it and take it if he needs. Having a look at that one, starting with the arrow.
So again, it's very good engaged by Woolite, spotting Xpeke being a bit far away from the team. Just instant arrow him, nobody's there to help him in time. He goes down, and then the Copenhagen Wolves actually looking very good. Kautar's completely untouched at this point, and nobody from Fnatic can move anywhere because of the ult from Unlimited, just across the whole thing here. So trying to flash Q, LX, didn't work for him and has to take the Lantern away.
I was going to say close to going down, but all those shields that he gets keeping him alive. And we've got 5 seconds here until the Dragon comes up. It's actually the Copenhagen Wolves that are in position for this one already, but Fnatic starting to close it.
And teleport on Source, he should be able to join in case they want to fight for this one. Woolite arrow once again.
Oh, going towards Cyanide here, but he's just going to go up in the air. We'll come right down on top of him. Good Lantern. TP going to come in from the side as well. Where's the damage going? The hook comes in. They manage to get the AD carry. He gets the intervention on him and maybe gets Reckless out of the fight. No, Reckless has damaged too much for them there to double. Another double for Yellow Star. We'll see a kill for Reckless now as he starts dominating the game at 6-0-9. And Fnatic pick up 4 kills. Almost had the ace onto Airwax. They're forgetting the Dragon. They want the Baron.
I really like 4.10 so far in Europe. I mean, there's team fights every single minute in this game here. Both teams just going back and forth. This time around, it was Yellowstar with the Lantern, and then the hook onto Woolite, really being the MVP of the fight. Beautiful play by him. Fnatic picks up 4 kills, and now also the Baron. We're just going to see it again here. Sana actually being caught a little bit out of position, but because Yellowstar is in a good spot with the Lantern, he gets him out. Tilbok comes in from Source, and Reckless just needs to stay by himself on this top side here, and then beautiful hook onto Woolite, engage and even plays Couch out as well, so he's also an easy target to kill afterwards. And overall, just a good team fight by Fnatic.
So you mentioned earlier on the changes to the random entitlement. As that replay runs out, and of course Fnatic picked up the Baron. I actually saw Cyanide getting himself frozen heart here.
So I was talking with Reckless before this game here about how strong minus attack speed items are now. So if you can build a frozen heart, reduce the attack speed of the enemy AD carry, you are going to be in such a good position, especially also because you're against the Kale, which of course wants to attack a lot with his Hurricane, with the Nash's Tooth here. So overall, the Frozen Heart is very, very nice. But also because every single AD carry, due to the Bloodthirst changes, will focus on auto-attacking a lot more. Even Lucian, Graves, don't expect to see him a lot. If we do, he still has to build either Infinity Edge or Blade of the Ruined King, and therefore focus on auto-attacking a lot. So when you have Frozen Heart, even Randuin's Omen, these items, or champions who can reduce attack speed, they're going to be very, very strong in here in 4.10.
So let's take a look at the big picture as we're approaching the half-an-hour point of the game. 18-4 in kills. Big lead on that front for Fnatic. The gold is sat already over 12,000 with 5-2 turret lead for them as well. So definitely their backs to the wall here, the Copenhagen Wolves. And with that Baron Buffon now for Fnatic, they're going to come under a torrent of aggression out of the Fnatic team, trying to siege down these towers. And we see there already the damage coming on towards Kautar. That's going to force him right back away from it. Unlimited doing his best to try and hold them in, but he gets hooked, finished off, absolutely blown to pieces, with Reckless getting another one at 7-0-9 now.
And there's so much damage on everyone for Fnatic at this point here. We even see Xpec is delaying his Void Staff. He doesn't need it at this point here. Just go towards the Hourglass so he can dodge around the arrow, or in case he does get stunned, he can use it afterwards to try to survive some of the burst until his team can help him. So overall, Fnatic is looking so strong. Look at that form.
Well, that's enough to get them away from that turret. Copenhagen Wolves trying their best to hang on to that one. Bottom lane actually has still the inner turret standing, so that's basically a free turret here for Fnatic. They can definitely tank things up. They've got shields if nothing else in there as well. So we'll see how they work on that one. Good Q to spot out Yellow Star, but I don't see the Wolves maybe even trying to hold on to this inner turret. Too dangerous for them to stick around in the open there.
And also they're just so far behind in items. I mean, just look, compare the junglers here. Frozen Heart completed on Sanad, so he's doing so much work in the middle of everyone from the Wolves. Even Youngbuck wants to auto-attack at this point because of Blade of the Ruined King being so good on Renekton. So every single member just gets affected by Sanad if he's around them. And of course Reckless now, Infinity Edge completed as well. So with the 15% crit from his Ghost Blade compared with the Infinity Edge, he has so much synergy between all his items, and the 6-second burst, insane. And that's a minion.
Yeah, flash hook from Yellow Star. Worth the chance to get that one started off, but the risk not really paying off for him. I saw the statistics there. Reckless got 15 kills ahead overall. As Unlimited gonna get hooked in and again taken down to less than half HP, and that may just be enough to get them. The turret Youngbuck now gonna be hooked in as well. The bomb comes through. Countdown gets locked up, blown to pieces before he can even use his intervention. And there's another hook. What is with Yellow Star today? Landing them left, right, and center. The Collie comes through. Cyanide gonna get in there. Peke will actually finish off, and Woolite might not be safe here as he tries to He does get back onto the fountain, but that's going to be the turret.
They have super minion.
Or
They're
maybe
gonna
not.
finish.
Fnatic just going to go straight for the base. There's 3 men down for the Copenhagen Wolves. First Nexus, so he's going down. Another hog landing and another kill for Fnatic and Reckless. The Young Buck will get away, but that's not going to matter too much, actually.
Oh,
he hooked him as
point
well.
everywhere.
If you got 10 points for a hook, then Yellow Star would be outscoring every single person this week. What a fantastic game. Fnatic pick up the victory. For the Copenhagen Wolves, though, the woes continue as they lose another game.
But such a great game to watch because there was so much action all the time here. Yes, you can argue Copenhagen Wolves shouldn't be team fighting early with the comp they had, but they still did. And Fnatic was there to punish them, didn't just wait around. It was fights non-stop, over and over and over. And the game finishes well before the 30-minute mark here. So great game, especially great start game of 4.10.
Really, really good. See, hopefully the games continue like this. As a play-by-play caster, this is kind of like heaven for me. But just to run through some of those Fnatic scores once again, starting off in the top lane, because we've always had doubts about AP top laners with Soaz, but he had a fantastic game this time around. 5-1-13 he finished by the end of that one. So Cyanide at 2-1-11, Peke 4-1-13, but Reckless 9-0-12 on Lucian.
Overall, I mean, everyone, especially Reckless, great performance, and really showed us how to snowball a game. I mean, that 5 minutes of waiting around, but as soon as they completed Ghostblade onto Lucian, completed Death Cap onto Xpeke on the Ziggs, they just went ham again, just look for the fights.
I have to give a very, very, very special mention to Yellow Star, because at the end, those hooks, one after the other, picking people out there. They couldn't hide from him. Even so, Youngbuck is right at the back of the fountain, and I think, okay, he's probably safe in there, but no. He hooks him in, pulls him back out, and they managed to get another kill right at the very end. Just a dominant performance. It was a 20,000 gold lead by the end for Fnatic. As you said, under 30 minutes it took them to actually win the game, and that's a scary thought going forward. We know that Fnatic is capable of this kind of game. They just need to show it on a more regular basis.
Yeah, and also on the side of Copenhagen Wolves, they need to fix up how they play with certain comps. I mean, again, when you have a comp where you need to scale up into the late game, except for your top lane pick, don't look for team fights left and right in the early game against Lulu, Ziggs, and Lucian. I mean, it was doomed to go wrong here. And of course, Fnatic took advantage and showed how good they can be. Still too inconsistent as well. I mean, they're 6-6, or now they're 7-6. And this is the team who's been winning the splits or winning the LCS in Europe every single year, or every single split.
Every single split so far, indeed. We'll see if they can keep moving up the table. And for now, we're going to send it over to Shox, who's on stage with Fnatic's Reckless.
Thank you very much, Joe. Indeed, I'm Eefje Shox supporter, joined here by Reckless after that game, because what a game it was. Fantastic performance by you and the entire team. So we got to start with the patch and the picks coming in here. You going for your worthy Lucian, and then up against an Ashe in that first game. What do you make of those picks, and how do they scale?
I think it's not mostly about the picks anymore. It's mostly about which champions you can build Blade and Ghostblade on, because this is probably the best build right now. Like, it's hard to say already because I only played 1 or 2 days on the patch after London, but I felt like I'm more relevant in the game with Blade and Ghostblade than I am with like IE PD, because it takes so long to scale up. So I just looked for a champion that can build Blade and Ghostblade and be really relevant in the game, and Lucian is one of the better choices.
Yeah, you touched on that yourself, and I wanted to ask you about it as well, because you usually do very good in CS, but then sometimes you lack the aggressiveness to capitalize on it. So how much is this patch helping you, and maybe other factors as well right now?
I don't think the patch helps me that much. It's just a mindset I had lately that I was really passive in my gameplay, and I got a lot of slack from it on Reddit and stuff, but I don't mind much. I actually felt it already personally that I really were too passive in so many situations. So we have been working on it together because we noticed this as a team as well. So I've been trying in scrims to just do these aggressive plays. Maybe it feels like whatever. I just learned that this is my crush point, and then I try to focus on the areas really close to the crush point, and then I learn eventually when I can go in and when I can't.
So you say that this has been a recent development. Of course, you read things on social media, but you also have Araneo now coming in to help you. Does he offer anything else for you personally than he does for the team in general?
I think he offers a lot, actually. He's like a really good friend for me, and he motivates me to play more and try other champions and try other playstyles, because he like links me profiles of the Deft and Imps from Korea, for example, and he showed me like these runes might be good on this champion and this item build. So he's really good for us, I think, and it will help us looking forward to the playoffs.
A final question for you guys more in general. As you touch on the playoffs yourself, of course, we know you guys started off slow last time in the summer split, but you know, it's about time that it gets going for you guys. So how do you see yourself right now in the entirety of the LCS?
I think we're somewhere in the middle. Like, we can't expect more, but at the same time, we have Alliance and SK who is performing really well. So we have someone to look up to and to scrim. We might lose a lot of games, but we learn a lot from them, and taking points from them might help us develop our gameplay. And I feel like, at least lately, we have been doing better than before, even though we had a shaky performance in London. I think we're getting there pretty much, and hopefully in time for the playoffs.
Well, thank you very much. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Now, as for us, we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we're going to break down this game, and the first place Alliance takes on the third place Millennium. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Loser. Average player. So average. So average, dude. Dying to minions.
And Yellowstar now in all kinds of trouble, but Airwax taking a lot of damage as well. Yellowstar going to flash away, and they manage to get the kill. Reckless, though, being locked up by the front passive, and now it's all on Woolite, 2 versus 1, and now they're looking for more. Countdown in the back of the Dragon Pit, completely isolated.
Nice
Cyanide flash is over, gets the cocoon.
I TP, no? We
Go
fight
on them, go on them. Fight.
Go trash, go trash.
Oh, Ash. She has kill out. Renekton. Ash after kill. Nice. Renekton. Braum.
Braum's dead.
Nice.
Down.